Yep. Good evening, everyone. So last session we discussed about how to work with the structural directive ng if. We discussed all points about ng if. So what is the topic we learned yesterday was content projection. So I hope everyone practiced this. So what is content projection means? Content projection is creating templates explicitly and rendering those templates into the UI according to situation. That means designing multiple then blocks, how to create multiple then blocks. So few examples I explained already, but if there are many conditions, you already know to write multiple conditions, logic is very complicated. Remember always, anything you are explicitly creating and adding into UI, it will always take time. If you are creating any content explicitly and you are adding into the UI, it will take always time. So if there are many conditions to handle, then better you can use another one. What is it? Instead of using ng if, you can use ng switch. Already you know switch case. What is advantage of this is it will reduce the logic and it allows to render exactly what you want in a simple way. That means, so it is a structural directive which is used to add or remove elements. So it is a structural directive which is used to add or remove elements from DOM, the document model. What is advantage is it improves performance when page have to render multiple blocks. When page have to render multiple blocks, then we can improve the performance by using ng switch. Because what is problem? The question is, what is issue with ng if? So the issue with ng if is rendering multiple blocks. Blocks requires content projection. What is problem with this is it is heavy on application and slow in access. That is what actually the problem with ng if. Then better what you can do, you can use ng switch. In order to use ng switch, lot of directives are there. The directives are, what are the directives we have to use? One is ng switch, another one is ng switch case, another one is ng switch default. These three are required. We need a ng switch, we need an ng switch case, another one is ng switch default. You generally know how to write a switch case. Already yesterday in examples we written the switch case. So here we have to use these directives, ng switch, switch case and switch default. Syntactically we write like this. In the main container, we have to just use a directive ng switch, like a property we have to write. Generally, ng if is written by using asterisk, but ng if ng switch is defined like a property. This will take the value. After taking the value, now we need to define case. That means we have a div. This div will use ng switch case. If case is A, then what is the block? This is block A. So we have another one. What is it? ng switch case. If case is B, then this B block. So block B, it will render that particular block. If the value is matching with A, then first block will render. If it is matching with B, then second block will render. If it is not matching with any of these, then we have another option. What is it? ng switch default. ng switch default will execute when any case is not matching. This is what? Default block. That is how we write switch. So what is advantage of ng switch is you don't need to write external templates. You don't need template reference. You don't need a view child like directives. You can directly manage multiple blocks. We can add which block you want directly into the UI. So let's see how to use it. Same example we will redesign. What we designed yesterday, same we will redesign by using switch, and we will see how it simplifies, how it is going to simplify. One printer example we designed yesterday. Let's go that. What is the name we given for that? Product view. Yes. Product view is, I will keep that in the startup. Product view. In index, I will change product view. Okay. In the index, I am changing product view. Okay. Let's open this. This we designed yesterday. When user moves the mouse onto it, then that product related data will display here. Just like a shopping example, we created this in the last session. But for that, lot of logic we have to write. So lot of external templates we have to create. Observe carefully. For this design, what we done, I will open this product view. In the product view, this product view TS file, you can see we have to create 5 templates. We need to create 5 templates. We need to write a switch here. Which one is selected, we need to identify. Based on that, we need to render the output. For rendering output, this interface is required. Now this, remember, UI you cannot reduce. UI is same. User interface means you have to design, but logic you can reduce. Now how this becomes simplified? By using ng switch. Let's see same example by using ng switch. Now if you are using ng switch, what is advantage here is, simple note is, ng switch case can directly operate on HTML elements. ng if cannot, am I right? ng if requires, what it requires? ng if requires dynamic templates. So they are defined by using what? ng template. They are defined by using ng template. But ng switch case can directly operate on HTML elements. You don't need a separate template, right? Let's see how it works. Same example we will recreate by using switch, and we will see how it will simplify. Okay. We will add one component now. Let's add a component. So in the components, open in integrated terminal, ng generate component switch demo. Skip test. Okay. We are creating a component called switch demo. Fine. Let's keep it in the startup. In the app module, I will keep a switch demo in the startup. Okay. And in index.html, we will keep switch demo. Switch demo. Okay. Switch demo. Now you can see switch demo is working fine. Now let's create the UI. Let's go to switch demo HTML page. Here we need to design. So we will put a class container fluid. And here I will put a heading simply product details. And yesterday what the design we created, we will create a div. In that class we have row. In that you have two sections. One is now, another section is main. In the now section, class called to, and main section class called 10. Now in this section we need thumbnails. All the thumbnails we need to design. I created a div. In that image, these are standard images. Image source is assets. So it is view1.png. Width 50, height 50 we defined. And this is class margin bottom 2. Like this, we have how many images? View 2, and we have view 3, and we have view 4, and here we have view 5. So, and you can see those images are here. Those 5 images are here. Now, for every image, roughly I will put a class border and border 1, border primary. Like this I given. For every image there is a border. Okay. So I will keep this class for every image. Let's say border 2 little bit. And for every image I am adding this border. The 5 images we are having here. Okay, that is the image preview. Now what should happen when mouse is over? The detail should come right side. It should change. Then yesterday we designed ng template and if. But this time, now we will use a container. In this container, we will add switch. ng switch. ng switch is expecting view name. Which view you want, it is expecting view name. That will come dynamically. That we will declare in the TypeScript file we will create one property. So we will create a public view name. View name is a string type and it is currently by default I will give view1. View name I am just giving as view1. By default it is having view1. This view name we will pass into the switch view name. We are passing that view name. Now in this, how many cases are required? Switch requires 5 cases. We have to define using a simple div. Here we have to write ng switch case. If the case is view1, and remember strings are written in a double quote, string is written in single quote. In a double quote, you have to write the string in a single quote. That is view1. That means if view name is matching with view1, then it should display that image. What is the image? Image source is what? Assets view1.png, width 200, height 400. Yeah, width 400, height 400. I define. That is the image we have to display. And by default, first case is matching, then first one will come. By default, first case is matching, the first one will come. Now, like this, we need to write the cases. Second case, it is what? View2. Which one to display? 2. The third case is view3. Which one to display? View3. And the fourth case. So what is it? View4 to display. One more, fifth one, view5, fifth one to display. View5.png. Now this view name, these are the cases we mentioned. And what should happen is when mouse is over these images, then that view name must be sent. It should be applied to that view. Now what we do is, here we will write a simple function. To get the view name, we will write a simple method. So what is the method? Public. We will say change view. Okay. This change view is expecting a view name, which is what type? String. Now we have to collect that view name and apply to this dot view name is equal to view name. Understood? That means whatever the view name you passed, it should be applied to the view. When this change view should fire up? Whenever user moves the mouse onto image. That means now here in the navigation bar, we have to write for this image. On image, what we have to use? Mouse over. On mouse over, change view. Into that, we will pass a string. What is it? View1. That's simple. You don't need to write any switch case now in the logic, because now this view name will be passed and that will be assigned to this view name. By default, view name is which one? View1. When you move the mouse on to second view, view name will be second. That means here we will put the same logic. So for second image, when mouse is over, change view. Into that, which one we have to pass? 2. For third image, we have to pass 3. For fourth image, we have to pass 4. And for fifth image, we need to pass 5. Now observe carefully in the TS file. Very simple logic. In our previous example, we have to write a switch case in the logic. We have to verify which view they selected. Now you can see When I move the mouse onto it, that image will be displayed here. This is more simple. Yesterday, what we have to do, we have to create 5 templates. We have to render those 5 templates. We need to render those 5 templates. Creating templates, rendering the templates outside, this all requires a lot of logic. Now we reduced that and we made it very simple because we are handling everything in the UI. Mouse over already we know, right? Mouse over, what we have to do? Let's go to the CSS file. In the CSS file, image hover. When mouse is over, cursor we will put as grab. That is nothing but when mouse is over, hand symbol will come. I move the mouse onto it, then it will get that and it will display. This is a simple concept of working with ng switch. ng switch. So ng switch is nothing but it is to identify which block you want and render that block directly. What is difference between if and this? Let's see yesterday's if product view. In the TS file, see how much logic you need to create. That means you have to create how many templates? 5 templates. You have to use template reference. You need to use view childs. You need to render them and display. Now this we managed by using a simple logic like this. Just we are having a view name and we are changing the view name when mouse is over. When mouse is over, whatever the view name is there, we collect and we will apply to this particular view. Automatically the view is used here. You see the view is sent to this switch. Am I right? When it is sent to that switch, now what is the condition here? If the view name is view 2, right? View 2 or view 3, then what will happen? Directly it is going to that particular case and it is going to display that. If it is matching, it is displayed. Now you entered some view name and it is not available in any of these locations. Then what we will do? We can have another one to display. Which one to display? Default. But currently here user will select only what you given. There is no chance of going out. In that case, you don't need a default. Default we will use later. In other examples, we can try them. Where you can ask user to type something, he will type and it is not available, then we will use default. Technically, this is more better when compared to the if. So, if there are 1 or 2 conditions to manage, then you can go with ng if. If there are many conditions to manage, many blocks to render, then better to go with the switch. Right? This is one same example we recreated by using switch and we reduced the logic. Remember, UI never changes. UI will be same. Presentation is same. Only the logic behind that will change. The performance will improve because now you can test one performance. Let's test the performance. How to test the performance? What we will do is, we will put this in the startup. Which one? Product view. This is if related, okay? In index, we will put here. What is it? Product view. Okay, we are using product view. Now here, I will open inspect. In the inspect, I will go to network category. In the network category, so keep this network category. Now save the changes. Here we are saving, and you will refresh and see, and the output is ready. It is working fine. And observe here how much time it has taken to load this content. Observe the load time. So you can see the time taken for loading this. It took 5, load time is 572 milliseconds. That means it took 572 milliseconds. Including additional styles, it finished everything in 587 milliseconds. That means it took 587 milliseconds to load the content and perform this operation. Okay, keep that, and now let's go 587 total finish time. Okay, now let's change this to the new example. What is that new example? Switch demo. The switch demo in index, we will change switch demo. Switch demo. Okay, we are using switch demo. Okay, now one more time refresh and see here. You see when you refresh here, average time you will see here, it is taking average. I need to do how much this time. You can see it is taking how many seconds? 564 milliseconds. That means it is taking 564 milliseconds. Previously how much? 570 or 80? 87. Yeah. Now important is it improves the performance. It reduces the load time. Because UI is same, your logic reduce. Performance is important. And remember, lot of conditions are there you are going to learn. That means how to test the performance of application, how to handle that according to performance, we will see. That means if both are working fine, now the doubt is, so why we have to use this? Why we have to use this? See, load time it taken 545 milliseconds. So that means generally people have a doubt like only 5 milliseconds difference is there. What will happen? Every millisecond matters on web technologies. That means in web designing, every milliseconds will become a big issue later. That's the reason even 1 millisecond difference is there. We will implement that technique. Because on web, every millisecond is very complicated. There is some delay in the website, then nobody will show interest in using your website. You need to keep always minded about the performance of application, right? That is the reason you have so many styles of rendering UI. So why it is delay previously? Because it have to create a template and render the template. Why now there is little bit speed? Because it don't need to create a template. Already template is there. Just it have to add. Previously, it should create a template, add the template to page. Now directly it is adding the template. No need to create template explicitly. This is the concept of working with the switch. Working with switch. So this is one simple example. I will give this example. Switch demo.component.ts. In this TS file, I will copy this. Just we have a property called viewName and we have a method called changeView. Next, switch demo.component.html. HTML will not change. HTML will be similar. But in HTML, this time you don't need ng template. You can directly use your HTML elements and you can configure using HTML elements. You don't need ng template. Ng if requires, ng template. But here we can directly use this, right? One more important, don't forget this because you regularly do this mistake. When you define the case value must be a string within string. It must be a string within string. That means you have to use a single quote within double quote for the string. If you miss this, it will not work. It will not show any error. It will not show any error. Just in the output, it cannot render. That is the reason we should be careful in handling this. Okay. Now CSS we return simple, right? So switch demo dot component dot CSS. In CSS, just only one small presentation we done, just on image over grab style we design. This is the complete example of same concept by using switch. How to use the switch directive, right? I hope everyone is clear. Everyone understood difference between ng if, another one is ng switch. Why we have to use switch? Because ng if can render multiple blocks, but it needs explicit templates. Without that, we can manage now, right? These are two important structural directives. Two important structural directives. One is ng if, another one is ng switch. That is structural directive. What is the role? What is the purpose of these directives? Purpose of these directives, adding and removing elements. Understood? The main purpose of these directives, adding and removing elements. Add a new element to DOM, remove the element from the DOM. That is the purpose of these two directives, right? Now, another important in the directives. So we have ng for. ng for. Another very important and major directive is ng for. Actually, ng for is nothing but it is a repeater. ng for is a repeater. ng for is a repeater. Repeater means it is used to repeat any HTML element. It is a repeater. It is used to repeat any HTML element. Suppose I want a heading 10 times. I want a paragraph 10 times. I want a image 10 times. I want a list item 10 times. Then you can write once and you can make it repeat 10 times. So ng for is a repeater. Its purpose is to repeat any HTML element. Based on which condition it will repeat. Actually, ng for uses an iterator. ng for uses an iterator for repeating. ng for uses an iterator for repeating. In JavaScript, you learned some iterators. What are the iterators you learned in JavaScript? In JavaScript, you learned for in as an iterator, for off as an iterator, for each as an iterator, map as an iterator. These are all iterators in JavaScript. These are JavaScript iterators. By using these iterators, ng for can repeat. But what ng for uses is, ng for uses for off iterator. ng for uses for off iterator. It uses off iterator. I hope you already know in JavaScript, foreign is used for reading all properties. For off is used for reading all values. If you want to read all properties from a collection, we have to use for in. If you have to read all values from a collection, you have to use for off. So it is a iterator. It is an iterator. Observe carefully here. How it is going to work is syntactically. Suppose I have a list item. I want this list item to repeat. If I want this list item to repeat, I have to use ng for. Ng for. What is the condition for repeating? So it uses let item of collection. That means generally how you write a for loop, how you write a for iterator in JavaScript, the same. That means it will read every item from the collection, and for every item inside collection, it will generate a list item. That means how many list items it will create? How many list items it will create? That depends on how many items are present in the collection. Actually, to do this work earlier in JavaScript, it's a lengthy process, very complicated. In JavaScript, to do this work, lot of work is there. That is simply handled in Angular. I will show you both difference, right? If you already learned, you know JavaScript, how it handles. See, actually, in JavaScript, how it works, I will show you. Suppose we are having, simply here we are having an ordered list, OL. And here we are having a script. So here we are having a script. Okay. Now, in this script, we have a collection called categories. Categories is an array. In that we have some electronics, we have some footwear, and we have some fashion like this. Now the concept is very simple. When body loads, whatever categories are present, I need to add into ordered list as list item. How? JavaScript teaches you this. So on load, body load, what we have to do, we need to write a function. What is the function? Body load. We have to read every item from these categories. We use for var item of what? Categories. We read every item from categories, and we need to add this item into ordered list as list item. Then what we have to do? We have to create a list item, document dot create element list item. In that list item, we need to keep inner HTML item. And this list item must be added into ordered list. Document dot query selector, we have to add into ordered list by using append child method. We have to add the list item. Now you can see that is how we have to add an item from array. This is how JavaScript does. That is what JavaScript will teach you, how to add the elements from an array in the UI. Suppose I need to create a drop down. It's a lengthy process. We need to create options. We need to put the text. We need to display. This is what JavaScript will do. That means you need an iterator. You need to create an element. You need to add item into element. You need to append that into that. This is complicated. Now Angular can manage this in a simple way by using what? ng for. So that is why framework advantage is it reduces the effort that you have to write. And already in the beginning I told you Angular is decoupled from DOM manipulations. You don't need any DOM methods. It manages all the interactions in a simple way. Let's see how Angular will do. So let's add one simple component here. I will add another component, ng generate component for demo. Okay, I'm adding a component called for demo. Let's keep this component in the startup. I will keep for a demo in the startup. Yeah. In index.html for a demo. Okay. Now this is ready. For a demo is working fine. Okay. Now let's go to the for demo component. And in this component here, we will declare a property. So how to create array, you already know. Public categories is a string type array. Into that we will put some string elements. That means electronics, so footwear and fashion. Now what I want to do, I need to add these all categories in the UI. So it is an array. Let's go to HTML page. And here I will just create a div class container fluid. Okay. I will create a div class row. I will create a div class call. Here I will keep a heading categories. I will create an ordered list. Now what we want here, all those categories we want as list items. What we have done in JavaScript you saw. Lot of logic we have to do. Here very simple. We have to create list item. This list item should repeat. Which item you want to repeat? In that item you have to use ng for. So list item have to repeat. So you have to write ng for inside it. Okay. How many times it should repeat? What is the condition? Condition is iterator. You need to write iterator. LET item of collection. What is the collection name? Collection name. Collection name is categories, na? So the collection name, what is it? Categories. That means now what ng for will do is, it will identify how many items are there in categories. And those number of times it will repeat this list item, and observe carefully, 3 items came. That means how many items are there, it will repeat. So what is ng for? It is a repeater. It repeats element. Now while repeating, where it stored the category name is stored in item. That I want to display here. Then I will use a binding expression. Here I will display item. And you can see it can display all. That's very simple. The same thing in JavaScript, you have to write 10-15 lines. Suppose you have to design a drop down, you have to design a table, you have to design complex presentation. It will go hundreds of lines. Now you can simply manage that in one line. And you don't need to write anything in the logic. You need to just mention this in the UI. In the UI. Suppose, observe carefully, I will show you what happens in your, this is your JavaScript code. In JavaScript, to create an ordered list dynamically, this much logic you need. And now we can simply manage that in single line. We just manage that in a single line. This much what you have to do in general JavaScript. For example, suppose there is a drop down. In the drop down, we need to add these categories as options. Again, lengthy process. What we have to do, we have to create an option. We need to add item into option. We need to append that option into drop down. It's a lengthy process. But now it can be simple. How? We have to create. I will create another column, class column. Here I will put select category. Now in this, I am creating a simple select. Now you can see here, it is showing a simple drop down. In this drop down, all the categories must display. Then which item I need to repeat? Which item we need to repeat? Option. How to repeat this option? By using ng for. What is the condition for repeating? LET item of what is the collection? Categories. Now important, you see those number of options are repeated. But very important, you know, in HTML already you learned every option requires text and value. That means what we have to do, every option have value. What should be the value? Item. And every option have text. What is the item? Is text. Item is used as text, item is used as val. That means now you can see it generates all of them as drop down. That means whenever you update the array, it is going to update here. That means let's go and in the array, first item I will add all, and automatically you can see it is added everywhere. That means you are updating, automatically it is going to define. So what is the purpose of ng for? Ng for purpose is repeating element. This simplifies lot of presentation. That means earlier we have to create elements, append elements, but now just one ng for will manage. Let's do some more. In many requirements, see, I will use another column. I will use another div in this class. I will use another column here. I will create a table. We have T head, TR, TH, categories. And for table, I will put a class table and table hover. And I give table dark like this. Now this is a table. In this table, I need to generate all categories as rows. So then what we have to do in the table body, now we need to repeat row. How to repeat this row? We have to use ng for. What is the condition for repeating the row? LET item of what? Categories. That means it will repeat 3 times, but in the row you cannot display anything directly. In the row you have to create a cell. In that cell we need to display that item. Now you can see that item is displayed here. So we are creating an ordered list. We are creating a drop down, we are creating a table. So in many requirements, they ask like, for every category, I want a button. Suppose we are designing some navigation bar. If we are designing navigation bar, every item I want like a link, clickable. Then how do we do that? That's very simple, nothing complex. So what we have to do, I will create another div. Class is column. I will put here some nav bar. Now in that nav bar, all these items we want like links. All these items we want like links. So then how? We will simply put a simple ordered list or unordered list in that list item. This list item should repeat. Then what we have to do? ng for LET item of what is the collection? Categories. In that list item, we need an anchor. Anchor href is currently hash, but this anchor text will be that item. That means you can see all these are displayed as links. We can make them functional later. We can make them functional later. First, we are learning how to present them. Right? Now suppose I want a button for every item. So let's do one more div class call. Suppose you see here, I am writing a simple button. I want this button to repeat. I want this button to repeat. Then what I am doing? So we are using ng for let item of collection. What is it? Categories. And button text must be item. And for button, we are applying some class. BTN danger. So margin bottom 2 and the W100 width 100. And you can see for every item there will be a button. We created button for every category. We created links for every category. We created this table. We created a drop down. We created an ordered list. Sometimes they ask like every category, I need a checkbox. I need a checkbox for every category. For every category, we need a checkbox like let's see. I will add div another row and margin top 3. Here we have a div class as call. And in this, I will put a heading, select category, okay. And in that, I want checkbox list. Then what we do, we use an unordered list. I don't want symbol. Then we will put a class list unstyled. And here we have a list item. This list item should repeat. So what we do, ng for let item of what is it? Categories. And for every list item, we need a checkbox. Input type is equal to what? Checkbox. What should be the checkbox label? Checkbox label must be that item. That's it. Now you can see it repeats a checkbox for every item. This is very, very important, right? Remember, whatever backend developer you are, if you cannot do this, you are not suitable for projects. Seriously. You are a Java developer. We don't care about your Java. If you are unable to present, you are useless Java developer. If you cannot present, then there is no use of your Java or .NET. Right? Real world development is all about how you present. And 100% lot of conditions are given. You are tested with a lot of conditions. You are tested with a lot of conditions. Presentation is very important. I just got today one job requirement opportunity from a company. So I will show you. Just they need HTML, CSS people. They need only HTML, CSS people. We forwarded few people to that actually. This is the current, today itself, we forwarded many people for that. Their resumes we forwarded. This is the job opportunity. They need only HTML, CSS people, 2021-22 passed out, 7 lakh per annum, fresher, no bond. After all, even Java developer with 3 years experience also don't get 7 lakh package. Right? And we forwarded our UI people majority. So just today, interviews scheduled for them. It is a walk-in, direct company walk-in. And what they test here, presentation. If you are unable to present, no need. We don't need your Java, .NET, useless. Right? And very important, these people's project is Java, .NET project on. But they need good UI people, presentation skills, Angular, they are not asking just HTML, CSS they are asking. UX means Bootstrap and Photoshop like tools, image editing like banners editing like they can do. No bond, 7 lakh per annum for a fresher is too much heavy. Right? And you can imagine how much currently in demand for designers. Right? You don't need to put additional skills also. Just you need to mention, I know HTML, CSS, lot of calls will come currently. And you put Angular, then they will give you first priority, Angular, React like technologies, right? So presentation is very important for any level of developer in real world projects in the current generation. You must be very strong with your HTML, CSS and Bootstrap. Whatever technology you may be learning, right? You must be very strong in web development especially. So you must able to present the contents in a clean format, in a desired format. For that, you need to know all these techniques. For example, if anybody asked you, like here 20 categories are there. Because of 20 categories, it becomes a lengthy list. Now anybody asked you, can you create a scrollable list of checkbox? Can you create a scrollable list of checkbox? Because there is no such element in HTML. There is no such element in HTML. But the real world requirement is several categories are there. I need a scrollable list. Scrollable list for these checkboxes. That is done by using our CSS. That means what we do, observe carefully here. We have this unordered list. I will put an ID for this. This ID is choose. Suppose I say choose is the ID. I will go to the CSS. In the CSS hash choose. That is the ID. For that, I am giving border 1 pixel solid, some gray, and width I given as 100 pixel. And you can see it is having like this. Am I right? It is having like this. Now what we are doing is, border I will give 2 pixel, then it will be okay. Okay. I will give some padding. Padding as 2 pixel, little gap will come, that will be better. Now see, for this what we are giving, height. Height will be 50 pixel. Then you can see the border will be like this. Now what we will do is, now anything below the border, we will say overflow as auto, then it becomes a scrollable checkbox list. There is no scrollable checkbox list in the world of HTML, but they want like this. That means there is no scrollable checkbox list in HTML. Either you have checkbox, either you have list box. In a list box, you cannot put checkboxes like this, but in every website we need this. Then how? At Angular level, you can't say, I don't know how to design. That's like silly thing. At your Angular developer, that means then you need to achieve every design. That means that is not Angular. This is not Angular, but it is used in Angular applications. This is CSS. Right? This is general CSS. So I kept the height for suppose 70 pixels. Then you can see it is a scrollable list like this. This is generally the basic requirement you need to understand how to present and how do we configure. This is one small concept. I will give an example here how to handle that. What is it? For demo, component.ts. In TS there is nothing, only one array is there. Only one array is there that we are presenting in HTML. I just have that array. Okay. I will copy this. In the TS file there is only one array. Now we need to present that for demo dot component dot HTML. In that we are using lot of presentation techniques. We created an ordinary ordered list. So we created a drop down list. We created a table. We created a links. We created a buttons list. And we created a simple checkbox list. This is all in the HTML. In the HTML. right? Now let's see how to present little complex data. If data is little bit complex, how it is presented. Let's see. This is simple string array, right? Let's see little bit complex data, how we can manage. I will show you little bit complex data now. I will clean up all this HTML part. I will just keep a div with a class container fluid. And here, let's go to the TS file. Here, let's create another data here. Public products. Products is an object type. That means it is I will give an array of objects. We will give array of objects. Array of objects means any type array. I am giving any type array of objects. In that we have some name, and we have some price. That is some price. Okay, let it keep with two things here. Another, that is name. This is some Nike casual, suppose, and some price and some price. Okay. Now I want this data to be presented in a tabular form. This is a JSON array. I want to present this in a tabular form. Let's see how we can do it now. I will just keep a heading. What is it? Products list. I will create a table. In that class table hover, and I will just keep table dark. So something like this, danger or dark. Okay. Now in this we have T head. In that TR, in that TH, one is name, another heading is price. Now you can see we have name and price. Now whatever data is present, this I need to design inside the table body, T body. In the table body, we need a row for every record. Then we have to repeat which one? TR. So for TR, we have to write NG for LET, product of collection. What is it? Products. Now, very important, every product is an object. That object contains two properties. One is name, another one price. So that means how many cells we have to create? Two cells. In first cell, what to display? Product dot. In the first cell, we have to display product dot name. In the second cell, what to display? Product dot price. That's it. Now it is going to present that in a tabular form. This type of work earlier in JavaScript, jQuery, very lengthy. So very lengthy, lot of logic we have to write for creating such tables dynamically. But now we can simplify that. That is in a simple way. So this is presenting a simple table, right? Later we will see complex with images, contents, how to design and all, lot of things will be there. But this is very simple. We are reading every product and we are presenting. Let's do one thing. Let's take little bit more complex one. This another example. This is a table. How to design a table? I will take this data. This is for demo.component.ts. In this is the data. For demo.component.html. In that, this is the presentation. Okay. Let's copy this now. Okay. Now let's go little bit more complicated here. Let's take here. I will create another one. Clean up all this. Okay. Now here I am creating public. What is it? Some menu. Menu is any type array. And it is an array. In this menu, it is an array of object. In that we have category. Category is electronics. In that products is again array. Means array of objects. In that object again there is an array. There is an array. Now the products, we have some TV, we have mobile. Okay. Now second, we have category, we have another category. So, and this category is footwear, and in the footwear we have products, and the products is some casuals, and we have like some sneakers like this. We have like some boots like this we have. This is another object. Now what is the concept here? Concept is nothing but I want this to present. How to present is, generally the presentation I want like this. Number one, that is electronics. In electronics, so A, that is TV, and B, this is mobile. Like this I want. That means at first level, I need to print category. At second level, I need to print the products in that category. How? That means we need nested iterations now, because we have an array inside array. So just like how you learned nested loops, nested iterations will be there. That means now let's see how to create like this, right? Let's see. Let's go. What is it? Menu, right? Here I am creating menu. Okay. In that ordered list, in that we have first list item. Li. This list item should repeat. So ng for let item of collection. Collection is menu. Okay. In this list item, this item contains what it contains. Item contains category. Category is what type? What type it is? String type. That means here we will define item dot category. That means it is going to print. Now you can see that is printed electronics and footwear. Now in this there is another property called item dot products. That products is again array. Then what we will do is, inside this list item we will create another unordered list. In this we have a list item. This list item should repeat. So that means here we have to use ng for. Here again I cannot use let product of what is the collection, item dot products. Understood? Item dot category is a string. Item dot products is an array. This products array can return every product which we will print here. Every product we are printing, then it will display in this way. This is a multi-level hierarchy. That means how we can loop nested, how we can design nested. This is how we can create nested. Because item have two properties. One is category, another one is products. Category is a string type we are displaying. Products is again an array. Then what we have to do? We have to create one more iterator. We have to create another unordered list, there we can display. Now, is this possible to design like this in a drop down? Is it possible to design like this categories, subcategories in a drop down? Yes, it is possible, because drop down have option group. You know drop downs now in HTML. In HTML drop down, we have an option group. By using that option group, you can create such list. Let's try. For example, what I will do here, I will keep this div class as row. I will keep this div. So class as call, because just I want to keep side by side. I will use another div. So this is class as another column. Here we will create select product. Okay. Now here we have a drop down select. I'm giving here class as form select. Okay. Now there is a drop down here, but this drop down should be having a nested hierarchy. We can create such nested hierarchy. Actually, we have to create OPT group. This OPT group should repeat. For that, what we have to do? NG for LET item of what is it? Menu. And very important, this OPT group usually have a property called label. It have a label property. To that label property, we have to apply item dot category. That means it will get the category name. That means for option group, it is going to apply label as item category. Okay. Now inside this, we need an option. This option should repeat. So NG for, it should repeat for every product of item dot, what is the collection? Products. For products. And here we need to display product, every product detail we need here. Now you can see there is a drop down like this. That means drop down also can have nested. It can have nested category and it can display. It can display. This is how we can present the data. We can present the data. So that is why you need to be very strong in HTML, because first to present, you should know which element is required. For that element, which attribute is required. To those attributes, you need to apply. That means we can create such nested by using drop down also, by using this. This is another example of understanding how we can create a nested loops. Nested iterations, how to create. So this is a simple option of nested iterations. So I will copy this now. This is another example. This is another example for nested iterations, how we can handle. This is for demo. So for demo.component.ts. Another for demo.component.html. Now you see I am adding that here. Now actually there is another presentation style. Means there are so many presentation styles I will show you. I will give one more option here, div. See what I am doing here, class call. So I will put a heading as menu. Okay. See, I hope you learned in HTML, there is details and summary. In HTML, there is details and summary. Now what I am doing is, I am repeating these details. Details, that means NG for LET item of collection. Collection is menu. In details, we have summary. In the summary, we will display item dot category. Now in this, what we will do is, in this we will create, here we will create some ordered list or unordered list. I will create ordered list or unordered list item. This list item should repeat NG for LET product of item dot what products. Every product name should be displayed here. Actually, details and summary in HTML will be like this. That is details and summary. Because HTML will teach you details and summary. So details and summary is defined in this way. So details is expandable and collapse. This is a HTML element. You can present details. In the details, we are performing iteration. Summary is category name. And the items are displayed in an unordered list. So presentation completely depends on your requirement, right? Whatever HTML you learned, you have to utilize that and present. Because in websites, they ask different presentation styles. Sometimes they will say, I want side by side like a nav bar. Sometimes they will say, I want in a drop down. Sometimes they will say, I want a nested expandable drop down. Such all things we have to design with these conditions. Logic is same, only the way of presenting will change. Right here I added one more. This also I will add. This column, let me add this column as end. Here I will add that column here. Additionally, details and summary also. So you must able to try all these presentations. Now let's take some real-time data and present. We will take some real-time data and we will try to present it. I already showed you fake store. We already saw NASA APIs are there. We will take that data and we will try to present the data. Then we will get more clarity because those data are very complicated. For example, see, this is API NASA data. NASA APIs will provide you some data. Suppose Mars rover photos. You see the data is given here. The data looks like this. This is the data. It is very complicated. The first challenge for a developer is first he need to understand the data. You need to first understand the data, what it is. It is an object. In that object there is an array. In that array again there are objects. First you need to understand the data, then you can present the data. What is our challenge now? We must able to take this data and create a presentation so that user can easily understand. Simple data we can easily present, but complex data like this is challenging. Now we will try to handle these kind of data. We will see how to get the data from these APIs and create a presentation for this data. That we will see in next session. Tomorrow we'll do that. Okay. This all you need to practice whatever we discussed today. Switch, another one for. By using this switch and for, we will create some real world examples now. We will take some real time data and create presentations for that. Then we will get more clarity on this. That we'll see in next session. Tomorrow we'll do that. Okay.